Bars loaded, let's go. Come on, make some noise, let's go. Put some weight on the bar for next time down. 3 white lines, swallow them.
Let me show you exactly how you can take your struggling bench to achieve that majestic 100 kilos, that 2 plate, that 3 plate, hell, even a 4 plate bench. And take from me, who was somebody who used to struggle benching 30 kilos with the plastic concrete plates, to being able to achieve a 145 kilo bench on a competition platform, all at 83 kilos, which works out to be a 1.75 bodyweight bench. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. So if I was able to take this guy who used to have arms like Mr. Tickle to achieving that, then I can help you do it too. But before we get stuck in, let me introduce myself. My name is Marquez. I'm an ex-mechanical engineer and I am one of the strongest online coaches that you know of. I've run my successful online coaching business since 2023 and I've helped people just like you get in the shape of their lives, one session at a time. So let's get stuck in. So one of the first things I tend to look at when I'm trying to improve on a lift, say, would be to increase your exposure or your frequency to said lift. So in this case, our bench press. When I first started off, like everybody else, International Chest Day was once a week and I would tend to hit bench and absolutely annihilate it for one day out of the week, typically on the Monday. And then I wonder why I didn't make much progress. But when I got a coach in my corner and he asked me how many times a week I was doing it, let's start increasing that frequency straight away. It goes with everything. If you're trying to ride a bicycle and you're only doing it once a week, you're probably not going to get great at it very fast. But if you're doing it every single day, you're probably going to improve your bicycle riding skills way faster. So the same applies for, in this case, our bench press. So rather than just benching 1 day per week, I increased that straight away to 3 times per week. And by the time I was improving as a powerlifter, I was actually bench pressing or doing a bench press variation up to 4 times per week. Now that will depend on the person and it will depend on how much volume you're able to tolerate, but for me I was able to do that quite well. So the very first thing I'd look at is how many times are you doing it per week, and if it's less than say 2 sessions per week you're targeting a bench press, I would try to increase that. The next thing I'd be looking at when trying to progress in an exercise is your actual programming. So when it comes to that, a lot of the times people are looking for that perfect training split or the most optimal. That word is being thrown around way too much these days on social media. I fucking hate it. But the main thing that I'd be looking at here is compliance. So I mentioned it in previous videos, but I love the phrase that Stan Efferding has gone with. Compliance is the science. And that basically means if you are looking to try and achieve any lifting goal, make sure that you are compliant and adhering to the plan, okay? There's no such thing as the perfect plan. There is nothing out there that is going to make you a better lifter if you are not sticking to the plan that's put in place, okay? If you're constantly changing out variables, if you're constantly mixing up the exercises or the workouts every 2 to 3 weeks, you're not going to get very far, and that's coming from experience, okay? So just make sure that you are compliant to whichever program that you decide to stick to, or whichever program that your coach, more importantly, gives you to stick to. So if we were to have a look at my last training program and what that actually looked like, it would be as follows. So on my Tuesday session, I would be doing bench press double pause for 3 sets of 2, bench press competition spec, so normal bench, for 2 sets of 6. After that, then I would have dumbbell Arnold press followed by weighted dip. So there's obviously plenty of upper body volume in that session alone. That doesn't even include the exercises after it. On my Thursday session then, I would have a bench press. I would have a Larson press for 3 sets of 5. So a little less specific than say a double pause bench because my feet are up off the floor. But 3 sets of 5, that's 15 working reps. That's quite a bit of volume there too. But the intensity is what we're really looking for there. Friday session then would have been a tempo bench press for 2 sets of 2, followed by a 1 board bench press for 2 sets of 7. So same thing again, quite specific with the tempo doubles, quite intense there, not much volume. It's only 2 sets of 2 reps, which is 4 working reps, but then followed by 2 sets of 7, 14 working reps after that. Finally then on our Sunday session, I would have 3 sets of 8 at normal bench press. So 3 sets of 8, 8, 16, 24, quick maths, that is That is quite a lot of working reps in contrast to, say, my Friday or my Tuesday session. So that would just give you a bit of an insight. And that's only the competition specific exercise. That doesn't even include the likes of the upper body accessories. I didn't even mention there the dumbbell alternating bench press, weighted push-ups, dumbbell shrugs, Smith machine JM press I'm looking at here, dumbbell front raises, side lateral raises. Plenty of volume in that, but like what I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, if you're not able to tolerate any of that amount of volume, just gradually increasing it. So that's the joys of having somebody in your corner that knows how to program for you. If you're going from 1 chest day per week to that, maybe a little bit too much. You don't want to go 0 to 100. So that's why, as I said, having that experience in your corner will be super helpful, which leads me into my next point. Another very important aspect for you to improve over time would be to have some feedback on board. So whether that be you checking in with yourself, having a log sheet that you can track the weights that you're lifting every single week, maybe having a gym buddy that you make sure that you go to the gym with together so you can spot each other when the weights are getting a little heavy, or else even just to make sure that you go to the gym in the first place, especially on those days where you don't really feel like it. But like what we mentioned in the last point, compliance is the science. So making sure that you're showing up, getting your arse in gear and getting to the gym, especially on those days where you don't really feel like it. Or my greatest advice I can give to you is to hire somebody to do that for you. Get yourself an online coach. It's 2026 now. There is an abundance of online coaches out there, some more experienced than others, hence why you're watching this video, by the way, mind you, just a little cheeky plug there for you. But my point being, making sure that there is somebody in your corner that you can trust, that has the experience to back up what they say, and ultimately is making sure that they are putting their efforts into you getting as strong as possible to achieve those great goals that you set out, be it your first time to bench 2 plates or a double bodyweight bench press. Who doesn't want that? I know for sure I definitely want that, because it is amazing. It's such a good feeling, and I hope each and every one of you watching this video achieves that someday. But getting back to the main point of this, having that feedback in place, be it a weekly check-in with yourself, with a gym buddy, with a coach, is going to maybe be the difference between you spinning your wheels for years or being the guy that used to bench 2 plates but can no longer do it and is wondering why. Or maybe you're the person that has never got to that point. Having a coach there in your corner will definitely help you get to there way quicker. Same thing again, speaking from advice. This was me before a coach. I looked like Mr. Tickle. I looked ill in this photo, and that isn't that long ago. That's like 8 years ago. So yeah, you can speed things up way quicker having a coach in your corner. Next point then, as part of your programming, you will want to tailor your program towards a peak. And this is where we would bring ourselves back to the programming and look further than, let's say, our 10-week goal. Have a look at the next year and see when are the times that would be probably more so available for you to build up enough training volume and intensity that you can finally enter into what's known as a peak phase. This would be typically a block that is broken down to basically a weekly program where you will increase the intensity way more, decrease the volume a lot more as well. So by the end of that training block, that is when you will aim to hit a personal best, or maybe top set even, either on a competition platform like at a powerlifting competition, or even running your own mock meet in the gym, making sure, let's say 12 weeks out, I am going to max out on this given day, and this is when I want to see, do I have what it takes to lift it? Because I myself, as I said, I bench 145 kg, but I didn't do that for 4 or 5 weeks in a row. I peaked all the way up to that point, starting that training block at around 120 kilos, adding 5 kg weights each week, reducing down the overall volume with me and my coach putting that plan in place in advance to the week before the competition, barely hitting a 140 kg bench in the gym. But something to take into consideration, the intensity leading up to that point was so much and taking a lot on my body, let's say, that the week of the competition, I basically do no training, and that will be known as a taper week. You would do that right before you peak, and that's where you will try to dissipate and flush out all that fatigue that's sitting in your body, sitting in your nervous system, and that's where the recovery will do its thing basically. So by the time you compete or do a mock meet in the gym, that's where you're fully rested, you are fully prepared, ready to go and to lift the absolute most way possible. And none of this could be done without entering into, as I said, what's known as a peaking block. This structure to your training just makes things 10 times more efficient, and it makes things way more exciting because you know exactly what weights you need to be hitting on a weekly basis in order to hit that PB by the end of the training block. And this is probably a complete contrast to what you've been doing up until this point, and I know it has been because it's exactly what I have done in the past. I was the one going in maxing out every single time I set foot in the gym, and all I'd be doing is leave myself broke up, my joints and my muscles would be screaming for mercy. I'd never seem to make any improvements in any lift that I was aiming for, especially with my bench press. I could never seem to hit that 100 kilo bench for what, 21 years by the time I hit it, I think. It would just increase my risk of injury, and if all that was piling up week after week, it would make me eventually want to quit. But not anymore, because I now have that experience of working with top coaches. I have done my studies, I have helped people just like you and just like me in the past achieve these goals, hitting that 2-plate bench and beyond that. And that's exactly what I want for you as well. So hopefully this video makes sense, and hope you enjoyed it too. And if you did, make sure to leave this video a like. Don't be afraid to subscribe to the channel as well, where I will have similar videos just like this one in the future. And if you are unsure of anything, don't be afraid to leave a comment. Let me know what you're currently benching or what you're struggling to bench with right now. Let's see if I can help you out. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.